Coming up on this season preview, powered by PointsBet, we are up to the Melbourne Demons. Are we going to see A-grade Petracca again? Can Clayton Oliver get back to his best? Has Max Gawn got one more year in him? Das, we talk about it all on this pod.
Yes, we do, Jev. I think we're both a little bit bullish on the Ds. It could go either way, but Jev, you know what to do. Like and subscribe. You guys know where to find us at 100K Sports. You guys can find us on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Make sure you share it to a friend, especially a Demon friend. I reckon they might want to listen to this one, Jev. We go into a few players in the gun. Go the Ds.
Up the Ds. Welcome back to the 100K Preview podcast for the season 2025. This podcast is powered by PointsBet. We are up to the Melbourne Demons today. Joining me as always, Darcy Ballard. Dobe, how are you, brother?
Jev, I'm good. It is good to get back to a few season previews. I think we're just over halfway. If you are listening to this, we've just come off an awesome weekend. We had the Super Bowl party, Jev, thanks to PointsBet, which was awesome. We had that at the Osborne. I know whenever the fans might be listening to this may seem like ages ago, but we had a great weekend, Jev. We had an awesome day. Geez, they know how to put on a party, PointsBet, because we were dusty at work, but we've still had an awesome week. And the only bad thing about NFL finishing up now, Jev, is we're in this little hiatus of about 2 weeks where we're discussing that all the podcasters are now having their holidays. NBA is still not anywhere near finals. Thank God that Luka's at the Lakers, so there's a little bit of talk. And I think we start preseason games this week. Then we've got the Freo and the All-Star game now. But it is time to talk Melbourne, Jev, and I absolutely can't wait to get into this. Can't wait to know your thoughts. They finished the year, Jev, last year 14th. So 11 and 12. We obviously know Petracca went down. They had so many things go on the field and more notably off the field. So let's start off how we always start. Competition A-graders. I feel when we did this 2 or 3 years ago, we could point to about 5 to 6 players. It's like this team is stacked. Who do you have as a competition A-grader coming into season 2025?
Yeah, I made sure when I did my notes this time, I wasn't super high on them because as you said, they finished 14th last year, but they were one of 4 teams that went 11 and 12. So, competition A-graders, Das. I've got Christian Petracca and Max Gawn. This will be the last year of Gawn being a competition A-grader, I reckon, but he's still that guy. He's such a gun. When he plays and is fit, he impacts the game better than any ruckman in the comp. And then Petracca is one of those diamond grader guys. Once we see him again, I can't wait to watch him play this year. He's legit the difference between the Ds making the 8 and missing the 8. He is such a stud. We've seen what he can do for so many years. He's got a bit of me about him, but he's a freak. What about you? Who do you have for competition A-graders, Das?
Yeah, only got those 2, Jev. Petracca, as you said, when he's on the field, he's a top 5 player in the AFL. When he's fit and healthy, we know that you have your diamonds. So you've got your A-graders, your best in the league, and then you've got your diamonds. So you don't have Petracca in there just because he was so injured the back end of the year. But if he's ready, fit and healthy, he's 100% one of those players. And Max Gawn, Jev, his ability to just take games away, whatever you need in the middle. He gives first silver service to his midfielders. His ability to be able to go back and just chop off the ball no matter where he is. It's like teams always look for him. It's unbelievable that he just gets himself into the right spots. When he has to, he can will himself go forward. He kicked 5 in a prelim just because he had to. It
was unbelievable.
You just forget how good he is. And every single year you think, how much longer can Max do it? I hope he can do it for another year for Melbourne's sake, because I feel if they don't have him, they drop off dramatically. If they don't have Petracca, they drop off dramatically. So this year more than ever, I think we're going to see Melbourne, those 2 as their competition A-grade is needing to shine more than ever. It'll definitely come through because they're going to have to really lean and rely on them as much as they can if they're going to be successful in 2025.
I'll let you go first on position A-graders that we do next. So who do you have as position A-graders for the Melbourne Demons? Guys that would play their position for any side in the comp, basically. Who do you have?
Yeah, this is funny because a lot of them, I've picked my list pretty much from last year, and then a few have got question marks. Stephen May, if he's fit and healthy, Jev, I feel most sides he's still going to go into. I feel a few years ago I had Lever there. I don't have him in there anymore. Jack Viney, I always had as a position A-grader. He's now a question mark. I don't know if he's walking to every side. I don't think he's walking straight into the Swan side in the midfield. I don't think he's walking straight into Brisbane side. So there's a little bit of a question mark. Clayton Oliver, when he's fit and healthy, you could argue he's one of the best players in the competition. What Clayton Oliver are we going to get? Any other year, I've said that he's a position A grader. Right now, it's speculation, so that's why he's still there, but there's a question mark. Cozzy Pickett, can he just stop suspending himself? Can he actually devote himself 100% to the team? Because when he is, he's an all-star. He's an absolute A-grade small forward, but he's already saying that he wants out of the side. So what sort of Cozzy Pickett are we going to get this year? And then you've got Bailey Fritsch as well, Jev, that last year I was so high on him, which when he's playing really well, he looks unbelievable. Like, could have almost won Norm Smith in that grand final. Obviously, Petracca, I think, had 42 and 2. But what Fridge kicked 6 or 7 and just dominated just when he's out on a lead.
Yep.
But for so many sides, I feel they would love a Bailey Fridge. So I've got him there. So I haven't really locked down any of these. My only ones I would really say is like Stephen May, I still think walks into any side. And I think like probably Cozzy Pickett. I think most teams would love a small forward, but Fridge, I've got a question mark. Clayton Oliver, depending on where he is. And then I've also got the same for Jack Viney. What about you?
Yeah, it's like we've got the same notes, bro. I said I'm going to still give Jake Lever and Stephen May position A grade status, but I want to see it early this year, and I want to see them get back to their dominant best. If they're not on early and they're, back to their best, then they can easily lose this position A grade status, and they're just another guys, I reckon. And then, as I said, Jack Viney, you said it, is he a position A grader? Like, he only averaged 20 touches a game last year, but he passes the eye test as much better than that. His brutality, his toughness, he makes me feel like he's an A grader at what he does. But then I think to myself, I can probably name 30 midfielders better than him, or 30 midfielders I'd probably rather at the Swans. So it's a bit of a tough one with Jack Viney, but that's it for me. I actually really, compared to last year, I was so high on Melbourne. This year, I'm not. This year I'm not high on their players. They weren't good enough last year. So I've really, gone down a peg on them. So I've just got, Petracca and Gawn as comp A graders, then Lever and May as position A graders. That's it for me.
Yeah, so it's funny how a year completely changes, because if they are top 8 side, which they were, and then they obviously won the flag in 2021, these guys are just like, they're starting on every single team. Yeah. Because when you're in the biggest moments and you play so well, everything gets amplified, and then you're looking at these plays in a different light. But when it goes south, and just because of the off-field stuff, we just don't know where the players' heads are at and how they're actually going to come out. So, yeah, I'm not surprised we agree on that. Just let's see how they start in the first half of the year. It'd be funny, like, not that we have enough time to do it, but if we did another review of these pods halfway through, I think that we'd be able to give a pretty good indication of where the players are heading towards the back end of the season. Notable role players, Jev, same thing. This team was littered with them. Now you've still got some old heads from the 2021. You've got some young kids coming in. Who are the notable role players that just go in, day out? Because Alex Neilborn was their number one. He's gone. Who else do we absolutely love for the Demons?
Yeah, so this is how Melbourne won their 2021 Premiership. They surrounded their superstars with cobblers that just cobbled and played a role in the team. I love what Charlie Spargo does, so highly rated in the building for the work he does. Ed Langdon, Trent Rivers, Cade Chandler, Christian Salem, good AFL footballers. I really like their games. Your man Bailey Fritsch, professional goal kicker, Cozzy Pickett as well. I had these guys as position A graders last year, so they're so good when they're good. Cozzy kicked 36 goals last year and Fritsch kicked 41. That's a bloody good output for a team that finished 4th last or 14th. If they both kick 40 this year and then Van Ruin comes on a bit more and kicks 40 as well, I think Melbourne can be really good. So this is where I picture Melbourne is it's Petracca, it's Gawn, if Clary's back, and then it's role players with a good defense. So, this is where I really do like Melbourne. What about you? Who did you have for notable role players?
Yeah, so Cade Chandler's come in and been able to play that small forward role, but he's had to go up the ground a little bit. Same thing. Hey, we don't need you to be Cozzy Pickett. We need you to do a little bit more of the team things. Jake Bowie came into the side against North Melbourne, and he just didn't leave that spot and then end up playing in the flag. I think he won 11 games in a row and he's like, how easy is the AFL? I've done it. But the big one's Ed Langdon, Jev. You put him on the far side of the wing. He's like, don't take me off. I'll just run up and down all day. I'll try and kick a snag if I have to. I'm more defense than offense, and I'll just run me absolute guts out. If you guys need to talk to me at the quarter time, halftime huddles. I know when I'm bad. I know when I'm good. So let me just go out there. And then when they had Lockie Hunter there as well, like I feel that they really got to wax on and off. But yeah, it's pretty much just the smaller guys because I feel almost not exactly like Carlton, but I feel when they were doing really well, they were very top heavy. Petracca, Oliver, Gawn, Lever, May. Like they never really had the super firepower up forward, but like they've got like Viney, like 5 or 6 really big names, and then everyone else around just to try and complement. And as we always say, let the cobblers cobble and just do the team things and don't bugger it up. Like don't lose us the game. Be a reason why we're still in it unless our A-graders shine. So, it'll be interesting to see who they've got coming through this year. They've got that Colton Tholstrup who they got last year.
Disco Turner.
Yeah, Disco Turner, who wears 2 left shoes. But yeah, really interested. Like Rivers is going to have to go from a role player to a position A grader. He's really going to have to step up this year. I know you've got a lot of notes on the next bit. You've got a few kids that you're looking at. The young guns, Jev. One player I loved last year, Caleb Windsor. I think he's going to take a massive role this year. Who are some of the kids that you absolutely love for the Ds for this season?
Yeah, so I absolutely love Caleb Windsor. I love how smooth moving he is. I reckon they've got a gem there. He kicked 8 goals last year, but he never kicked multiple in a game. He had a heap of 16-1 games. You go look at his stats, 16-1, 16-1. He had a 25-1 game against the Eagles. I hope his game steps up again this year and he turns it into, 20-1 consistently. He averaged 15 touches in 2024. Let's see 19 and 20 touches in, 2025. Take that next step. But my man does Harvey Langford, Dobe. Man, Harvey Langford. So I've got some great sourcing that they couldn't believe they got him at pick 6 stars. And if you speak to Danny Stingray's people, they can't believe he didn't go pick 1. I know I've flirted with this a bit. They could not believe Harvey Langford wasn't the pick 1 of the draft. They thought he was clearly the best player in the draft. I'm seat 1A on the Langford bandwagon this year. Like you hitched your wagon to the Wiz last year, Das, I'm hitching mine to Harvey Langford this year. I can't wait to watch him play. I'll be financially investing in him for Rising Star, which we'll get into later. But I'm just going to enjoy this ride and watch this Harvey Langford kid because everything I'm hearing is he's going to be a superstar. And I just want to be on board in the first year how good he really is.
He looks like a bull, doesn't he? There's a few clips that are coming out from trainings and he looks like he's happy to shrug guys and just accept the first point of contact, not always having to get it out. And those guys are so important in the league. If you can get Degoe that can actually take a first tackle, if you can get like a Paddy Cripps, even Petracca that does it really well, someone that can take 1 or 2 defenders at them, hold on to the ball and then distribute and then obviously let your runners go. It's worth your weight in gold, especially when there's so many big stoppages throughout the games. And if you can have someone that can break tackles and obviously get a few eyeballs on you, it's going to be huge. So interesting to see how he goes. Because, how big is he? He's a pretty big frame, isn't he? Like, you look at Jagger, and Jagger looks tiny. Like, Harvey Langford looks pretty big.
I had it up before. I'll quickly get it up. Have you got any other young guns?
Nah, just pretty much like I just love how much dash Caleb Windsor gave last year. And I'm really interested to see his step up into his second season because they still played some good games. I feel early on enough, they knew they weren't playing finals. So they almost just let him say, hey, this is the role that you're going to be playing going forward. We might even get some more midfield minutes, kick some goals, as you said. So I just think, he got a lot more games under his belt and he really was able to push the back end of the year. So excited to see how far he's come this season.
It looks like he's 191 centimeters, Harvey Langford, and still growing. And he's going to be about 90 kilos. And look, he's a big dude.
If you're 90 kilos, no, they're 90 kilos lean as well. Like that's not puppy fat. So getting into the next bit, Jev, is the depth. I've just got a little bit on here. I feel the back line for the Demons is hanging on for dear life.
Yeah, okay.
Has the league finally caught up to what was a great once premiership winning defense? It was rock solid and it was always able to work. Like Phil Jackson's triangle, Jev. He went to Chicago. The triangle just worked. They won 6 championships. He took it to the Lakers. They won another 5. It just always worked. Or you look at Khabib in the UFC. He didn't have to change anything. He just get you, take you down, ground and pound. Because Melbourne's defense, they should have made it to more than just one premiership. But when we look at their 2021 premiership side, it was Hibbert, May, Lever, Rivers, Petty, Christian Salem. And now, 4 years later, it's McDonald, May, Lever, Rivers, McVee, Salem. All they've done is slid McVeigh for Hibbert and put McDonald in for Petty. I just don't know if you can teach old dogs new tricks because the league has figured them out. For ages, everyone would just bomb it in deep. May and Lever would chop it off. What were they doing the back end of the year? They were putting it to grass. They were letting the smalls really attack them. The first half of the year, they were still dominant. They don't have Brayshaw that's able to go back there anymore. I just don't know if Goodwin has another feather in his cap to change it up, or is he too stubborn enough to be like, nah, this is exactly what we're going to do? Because from that premiership defense side, they've literally only changed 2 of the starters since 2021. It's now 2025. I just don't know if this is going to be the exact same team that's going to take them back to the finals, or are they going to have to blood some more young kids? So I don't know. So their backline, their depth, I feel if they lose 1 or 2, it's going to be extremely shaky because I still feel they've gone chips all in to try and win another premiership with this. Because if it goes down, I think it's going to go downhill very quick. What about you?
No, I like the take. They also trot Tomlinson out there, who sort of like plays on a man so Stephen May can roam, but sometimes it doesn't work. But I look at their squad and I really like the shape of their list. I think they've got absolute superstars in their prime. I think they've got some old veterans and some young guns. They've put games into Van Ruin now, and he's going to start hitting his prime. He'll be 22 this year, plays 50th game, and it's hopefully going to start clicking. He's surrounded by guys in their prime with Cozzy and Bailey Fritsch. If we can see Clary get back to some domination, Maxi Gawn stay fit, not look like he's falling off at all, Petracca come back, Viney go back to a third-string midfielder, May and Lever back to their best with guys like Salem, Trent, Rivers, Judd McVee, who went down in training today, but down there with them. And then sprinkle a sprinkle of these young guys, more Caleb Windsor, more Harvey Langford. I like their best 23 they're going to put out in the park too. I really like it, Dars. I'm excited to watch them. I think they can be real jumpers in the competition this year. So I didn't really go into a line of depth. When I scrolled through their squad, I'm like, I can see the picture of the 23 they're going to put out, and I like the look of it.
Yeah, well, for the last 4 years, they've still been tough to play against. Yeah. I think people forget they should have made it at least to it. Like, they bounced out of finals 2 years in a row where you could have argued that they just, as we said, it was always contest defense. And their defense was rock solid. Yeah. And everything else was just like, this team is actually so good. And they just botched all those 4 finals. Yeah. And now we look at it, we're like, can they do it again?
It's amazing, like, what a all-time dogging in a final does, like what they did to against Carlton in that semi-final, how much you can fall off a cliff from it. They were by 18 points with like 5 minutes to go. Cozzy gives away that 50. Cozzy gives away a downfield. Clary gives away a 50. And they lose that game. We haven't seen them since. Like, it is just unbelievable how quick the comp can go past you. They miss finals the next year. Dark horse All-Australian. I found this super hard with Melbourne. I'm super excited to see who you go. Who's your dark horse All-Australian?
I went back and I just went through to a guy because a few of these dark horse All-Australian, we've been looking at guys and we're like, this is a dark horse, like Jai Newcomb, and he's $4. We're like, yeah, that's not dark horse price-ish. So I went through and it's Jack Viney, Jev, at $21. He's literally still in his prime of age. As you said, he only averages like 20 disposals a game last year, but I love exactly what you said, the eye test. You watch, he has some games where he's just cracking you. Like, he's the toughest player in the AFL that I've ever seen. Like, you can just see this guy, like, you'd almost say, if I told you, not off the top of your head, that Jack Viney was an All-Australian, would you have said, yeah, he was? Like, you just probably wouldn't argue it. Like, the D's have had a few good years, like maybe he slid onto the bench, but he's never won one. And he's $21 thanks to PointsBet, Jev. That's an absolute dark horse. They're going to have to win at least 14 games, I reckon, for him to get the nod, or he's just going to have like 80% midfield minutes straight to the bench, because I don't really think he cuts his teeth that well, like putting him down back or up forward. He's not a real goal kicker. I think he's just going to have to be 80% midfield time, come off for a breather, and then just rinse and repeat. So $21, Jev. It's an absolute dark horse. I don't know if I really want to bet on it, but just for the sake of the segment, there it is. Jack Viney, what about you?
Yeah, see, I couldn't really find a dark horse, and I know this isn't a dark horse, but if every ruckman in the comp was 100% healthy for a 3 or 4 game final series, I'd still take Maxi Gawn as my number 1 pick ruckman in the comp. I still think he's the guy. I don't know if he's the guy week to week, all 24 weeks anymore, sort of like LeBron at the moment. Like, we know LeBron's not the best player in the comp. There's guys better than, but when it came to the Olympics this year, he was the guy. I still think Maxi Gawn is my number 1 pick as a ruckman. So I'm getting $6 on PointsBet for him to make All-Australian as the ruckman.
Nice.
He's the 5th favourite. I can see it. I still think he's a stud. I'd take him over any ruckman if it was just one game or a final series. He's the guy. So I'm going Maxi Gawn at $6. Coach Captain Das, what have you got for Coach Captain ? Is how we ask
I
this question.
feel this could be the final season for both. I feel I've got a hot seat, a coach's hot seat, and Goodwin's on there. I had coaches rotating. Ken was number 1, already proven correct. He's gone by the end of the season, so Ken's off. So that's 1 tick I can put. I said 3 of the 6 coaches would be gone by the end of the season. So there's one that I've got correct. Gawn. So how many years did Viney have it before Gawn took back over? It was only a few, because Viney went there. So I think he's the perfect leader, and I just don't know who's next. I thought Petracca was going to be coming in next, or then Clary, but Clary's definitely not going to be the next captain. Petracca, he still might want out. So then it might go back to Viney. So I just think that this club is just glued together with top-end leadership. I think Gawn, the way he plays, he's perfect. He speaks to the media, goes on Triple M. He's always knows the right words. Like, you cannot fault him. He's almost like a Cripps, a Bontempelli. You just put him on that top level of captain. Like, they just do it so well. Simon Goodwin, he came into this side, had an awesome list. They won a few flags and been super successful in the home and away season. But from everything I'm hearing, it's like he's involved in some of the off-season things, or like, it seems like a dog's breakfast of a club. There's just so many little spot fires, and where there's smoke, there's fire. I rate Gawn as such a high captain. I don't rate Goodwin as such a high coach. So as a combination, I don't know where I'd rank them. They would probably be like below halfway, definitely.
Yeah.
Like below like 12th as coach captain combo. Gawn I would have probably top 5. Yeah, Goodwin, I just don't think he's flipping the magnets as much. This is a massive season for it. If they finish 14th again, he's as good as Gawn in my books. What about you?
Yeah, I just pumped up Maxi Gawn with my Dark Horse All-Australian. I just love everything about him. His leadership and the courage in the way he plays. Might be his last year as skip, and he might hand it to Petracca, but he won't leave any stone unturned this year. They say when they used to have Captain's Day, like Captain's Media Day, where all 18 captains get in the room and they take the photo holding the Premiership Cup. They say Joel Selwood used to just run it. Yep. And then when Selwood retired, now Maxi Gawn runs it. So it's like he's the captain of the captains. I know he's the old dog, but like he's the guy. So I just love him. But Simon Goodwin is the one I want to know if he can change. Does he have his Chris Scott moment where the Cats just kept losing to Richmond year after year in the finals? Then he changed their game style to kick it to contest, move it fast, stop defending with the ball in your hand. They just blew the Swans out grand final day in 2022 where they were just perfect for like 16 weeks. They played perfect footy. Does Simon Goodwin have that in him? Can Simon Goodwin do that this year? He's got the list. Can Petracca have a 2017 Dusty year? Can Cozzy kick 55 goals and be an All-Australian? Can he release the shackles a bit on these Ds when we see them start kicking 100 points every week? Like, that's when you think of the Ds, you think defense and like they grind out teams. Can they start kicking 100 points every week? Like, will we see a new Melbourne, the way they move the ball and everything? Sort of like, you see the Swans have changed the way they move the ball the last couple of years. It's so exciting. Geelong did it. The best teams kick 100 points every week and they keep a team in the 80s. Like, will we see that from Melbourne? It will be the same old defend first, defend boring, kick it down the line. Like, I'm intrigued. I want to know if he's got it. They lost their assistant coach, Andrew McWalter, to West Coast. He's now the West Coast coach. They promoted guys from below. We really rate one of their assistant coaches. I can't wait to see what he can do as basically Simon Goodwin's right-hand man, midfield coach. So I'm bullish on him. I'm super pumped. I reckon they can change this year, but yeah, we'll see.
It's definitely going to be interesting. So his crowning moment will be like, we will know if he's got this whole team to buy in. Clary's back. They're able to show a different wrinkle in the back line. They're able to fire up their forwards. Like, where's Van Ruin playing? Is Fritsch going to get involved? Is Disco Turner part of the starting 22? Who knows? But he's just got to make some changes because you can't expect to roll out the same thing the last few years and the league not to catch up. So, 100% Gawn. Love exactly what you said. And it does seem like that. Like, especially the captains today, it looks like everyone does look up to him. So, strength of schedule. Have you had a look at it first? You've had a look because I want to tell you where their schedule ranks. But you have had a look at it?
I've had a look. All right, let me guess because I've got absolutely no idea. I reckon they have. So one's the hardest, 18's the easiest, isn't it?
No. Other way, one's the best schedule.
One's the
18's
easiest,
the
18. So I reckon they've got about 4 or 5.
They've got the second.
Yeah. So are they not the biggest team this year? You can see them on your schedule and you put them down as a W. Like, as a Carlton supporter, you've probably got Melbourne down as a W when you play them. I do as a Swans. Like, when the Swans play the Ds, I got them down as a W. I'm sure North Melbourne will think they're beating the Ds this year, sort of thing. I reckon they've got a bit in store for that. So they start with GWS on the G, North at Marvel, Gold Coast on the G. They can easily be 3-0 and super confident after that start.
Yep. And then after that, I feel their start looking at it's such a mixed bag, but they get players teams at the right time. So they get the Giants at home, they get North at Marvel, as you said. Then they got the Suns at home. If they had the Giants and the Suns away, I feel that's a different story. Then they've got the Cats just down the road, which is fine. Yeah. Then they've got the Bombers at Adelaide Oval. Then the Dockers here. Then they've got Richmond and West Coast over there. Hawks here. And then they go on a little bit of a stretch, like 2 games. They got the Lions and the Swans where they're going to have to do something about that. St Kilda, Collingwood, Port, Gold Coast, Adelaide, North again, the Blues, Saints again, West Coast, Dogs, Hawks. Like, they've got a pretty good schedule. Like, they actually do. And if all the players, if what you're saying, if they've all bought in, if everyone's healthy, that's obviously the number one thing. You have to have a bill of health, and you get teams that you can actually play together. You've got almost the same 22, 25 blokes every week, and you're not interchanging blokes. Why can't they make the top, 5 to 9 teams?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anyone's going to predict to put them in the top 4, but if they stay healthy, they get some good teams at a good time. And looking at their schedule, the teams they get to double up on, it's like, well, they've probably just got 7, if you look at 7 locks, they would have lock. Now let's go pinch another 7 to 8 and let's go make finals.
Yeah, so I've got them as 5-3 after round 8. They could even be 6-2, 7-1 if they're really good. I like their first 8. As you said, they go through a bit of a gauntlet after that. Hawks at the G, Lions at the Gabba, Swans at the G. Then it's Saints in Alice Springs, Pies on the G, Port at Adelaide Oval, Suns in Gold Coast. So that is a tough 7-game stretch, but we'll see how good they really are. They get West Coast twice, they get the Saints twice, they get Gold Coast twice, Collingwood twice, who they think they're better than. So I like their schedule. I really do. I like the look of them. Yeah, I'm confident in them for sure. But in the gun dust, I have a feeling we're going to have the same player. But I'm interested to see who you've got in the gun and what you say about him.
I'm gonna attack one of my own. I'm gonna attack one of the smalls. And it's Cozzy Pickett, Jev. You're already saying that you want out of the club. And look, maybe this is just this is what some players do. Odell Beckham got his dad to leak. He wanted out of Cleveland. Hey, get me out of here. I want out. And then the trade went through. He ended up winning a Super Bowl at the Rams. Everyone forgets it because he got on-field success. Maybe this is what he wants. He's like, the D's are a sinking ship and I want to get to Freo. Just get me back home. If he wins a flag, everyone will just say, how good's that? but he needs to have his head screwed on and he needs to still give 100% to this team. He's still contracted. You need to go out there, perform, and you need to stop giving away free kicks. So I just had a look at Jev. So his last 4 years, he's still an unbelievable small forward. So 40 goals, 41 goals, 37, 36. He's giving you high-end 30s every single year, which is exactly what you want as your small forward. He's frees for and he's frees against. So in 2021, when they're winning the flag, he had 20 free kicks to him. He gave away 21. Right. The next year, he only got 13. He gave away 30. Then he got 14, gave away 26. He got 13, gave away 20. As a small forward, you need to be getting more. You need to be applying more pressure and getting more back from your team. In 2021, when they won the Premiership, it's even. All right, maybe you might get someone a little bit high. Maybe you might need to add a little bit of muscle and you need to get the boys going. Yes, you might need to give away one free kick. Not that you go out there deliberately try and take guys' heads off. But the last 3 years, all we've seen is frustration. He snipers blokes. He pushes people in the back. You're not chasing. You need to flip that around. So, Cozzy Pickett, if you're trying to give back to the club that actually went all in on you, they gave you a long-term contract, you need to put in this season and you need to switch those numbers around. Yes, you can still kick your 40 goals. We know you can kick 4 or 5 every week, but he needs to get that part of his game cleaned up, especially the way that he's gone about this. So, Cozzy Pickett, you need to have an all-Australian caliber season and give back to the club and do it for the smalls.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. We did hear when they lost that semi-final to Carlton that in the rooms after, it was a lot of like, Cozzy, you keep fucking doing this. You keep giving away shit free kicks, downfield free kicks, everything. And we also have some very good sourcing that like him going to Fremantle is like a done deal this year. So I love that in the gun. Dust. I have to go Clayton Oliver in the gun. I haven't mentioned him once on this pod, really. I've had him at the top of my pyramid going into an AFL season before. Like, he was the number one player. I thought he was the number one player in the comp going into, wasn't last year, I think it was the year before. He's a top liner A grader when he's gone. Are we ever going to see that Clary again? I want to so badly. Just the ball winning, powerful running, best handballer in the game, like absolute beast he is. Are we ever going to see it again? Is he all in? Indications look like he is. Is his body right? Has he done the whole preseason? Are him and Petracca going to go back to the top two duo in the league? Like, I'm so pumped to see if they can go back to, like, when they're both at their A grade, they are probably the best duo in the league. Like, they are freaks. But is it still in him? Like, does he still have that? Or is he actually the worst contract in the AFL? Over $1 million a year for the next 7, 8 years, whatever it is, 6, 7 years. So I've got Clayton Oliver in the gun. I want to see the old Clary so bad. I want to see that beast. And we know, so he did fuck all of the preseason last year. He had his mental health problems. He was injured. He had so many like off-field problems. Barely trained preseason. Then we know by gather round he had broken ribs, broken foot, and a broken hand, and that's round 5. So he carried injuries all year. So if he's just had a solid preseason, he's better off the field. Like, he's got his mentals right. He's trained 80% of preseason, and we get 20 games of him healthy this year. I reckon we're going to see some of the best of him again, Dust. I fucking hope we do. So I've got Clary in the gun. I just love him. I love when he's at his best. So yeah, he's in the gun for me.
I love it, Jev. And I think everyone wants to see Clary back. Like, I know the AFL don't do it, like a comeback player of the year, and just have him like finish like top 10 in the Brownlow, just have an unbelievable season. He's kicking goals. He's bursting away from stoppages. Remember, was it the Queen's birthday the other year? And he had like 17 in the first quarter, and we're just like, he's just running on top of the ground. Like, he was almost like a bully on the field. Like, he just laugh at blokes because how fit he was. Yeah. And he's like, you can't come with me. So, yeah, I agree. I want that one, but I want to see Clary back to that form as well. Best bet on the board, Jev. What is your best bet? Anything to do with the D's, could be where they're finishing, all Australians, whatever.
So I'll give you the odds thanks to PointsBet, Das. To win the Premiership, $21. To make the Grand Final, $13. Minor Premiership is $34. To make the top 4, $8. To make the top 8, $3. Least wins, $41. But the best bet, Das, is the $13 you are getting for Harvey Langford to win the Rising Star is my favourite bet for Melbourne. I'm just all in on this kid. I said it before, $13 we're getting. I heard he just should have been number one. Like, what do I know? But I'm just going to go all in on Harvey Langford and take that $13. Thus, they're paying $3 to make the 8 and $1.38 to miss the 8. I personally would not touch that $1.38 with a poll. I think that is way under. I don't know. I'm a little bullish on the Ds. I don't mind the $3 for them to make the 8 as well. I think there's some value in there. I know there's a lot of good teams, and you got to push teams out. But I don't mind the Ds. I like their list. I like their schedule. I like that they've got Christian Petracca, who's an absolute A grader. So, what is your best bet for the Ds, Das?
It's not really the best bet, but I feel we're going to have a bet. We're going to have a bet. So if I said Bailey Fritsch's line at 49.5, let's say it's $1.90, would you take the over or the under?
Under. I think he's a professional goal kicker, although I think he's a bit of a duck sometimes. So
well, I thought you were going to say that, but I feel we need a few more bets throughout the season with me and you. So I'll take the over. You take the under. The only reason why I'm doing this because I looked at his last 4 seasons. So he's kicked 41, 38, 58, 59. So pretty much averages bang on 50 for the last 4 years, which I thought, I'm like, that's awesome. Let's set it at 49.5. If me and you go $1.90, I know maybe a steak at Squires or we'll go something. I just think 50 is a nice number.
When it's Melbourne, I always think like nice bottle of red and a cheese board or something we'll have on it.
All right, done. So I think as a fun one for the year, I don't think it's the best bet, but I went through the numbers. I'm like, because I love him. I had him as a dark horse All-Australian last year. And I was like, fuck it. I'm back on the Bailey train. Whether they make finals or not, I want to see him kick some snags. And I reckon this is the year that all the forwards go back into that top echelon of high scoring. So let's have a look at that.
Just before you go. So if you had $1,000 cash in your hand right now and you had to put that $1,000 on the Ds to make the 8 at $3 or the Ds to miss the 8 at $1.38, what would you rather have your $1,000 on, Das?
Miss the 8.
So you just take your $380 profit and run.
Like, I'm not super confident. I think that they'll probably. The value makes me want to bet that, but I was just like, I just think there's too many other teams ahead of them. I don't have them making the 8 this year. Maybe that's a spoiler alert for the next bit, but I would have not making the 8.
Yeah. No, I'd probably back them to make the 8, I think.
That's fair. It's good. Like, there's no right or wrong. Like, if they stay healthy and other teams go, like, they might just go on a run. So, floor of wins, what do you have them at?
So, they were one of 4 teams that went 11-12 last year. I think it was Essendon, Gold Coast, Melbourne, and there was one other team. I think it might have been Collingwood.
I've got it.
Went 11, or maybe Freo went 11-12 last year. I don't think their year could have gone any worse with the way the Petracca thing played out on and off the field with the injuries and stuff, and then how he created a bit of controversy and stuff. I generally think their floor is the same. 10-11 wins, 10-11 games. I legit think they hit their floor last year. I think that is Melbourne's floor, that sort of 11-win side. The only thing that concerns me is if, like, Max Gawn did his ACL round 1. You know they've been trying to get that ruck spot right forever, and they had it. They had Luke Jackson. They had Brodie Grundy. It just didn't work out. So the only thing they'd win less than 10 games, in my opinion, is if Max Gawn did an ACL within the first 3 weeks. But, I think they hit their floor last year, and that was an 11-win side. So I've got them as, 10-11 as their floor. What about you?
Yeah, just under. Yeah, just 10 wins. There's an injury. I still think their list is good enough to they'll be in a lot of games. Like, they may get blown out by Geelong in Geelong or something like that.
Maxi Gawn goes down there and plays a blinder every year.
Yeah, he does. But, like, there might just be a game where they just get done, but I feel they're going to be in more games than they're not.
Yeah.
Just if an injury or whatever, I've got 10 wins. As their ceiling, I've got them as they're probably 7th on the ladder. Everything goes right. They get it clicking, 14 wins. Yep. I think that's an absolute ceiling. 1 in from obviously over 13. What about you?
Yeah, so they won 11 last year. They won 16 in 2023, finished fourth. 16 in 2022, finished second. And 17 in 2021, finished first. I think they can get back to close to being that team. Who have they really lost from those teams of note, apart from getting older and just, rather than getting worse and losing key players, they've just sort of gotten older from those teams. They've just really lost Angus Brayshaw. So I can see them being a 15, 16 win team again. If they just stay, it's like the same as every team. No injuries, they stay fit. I can see them being really good, but we can't say this with every team because if every team's fit, maybe they're not that good. So that goes to the over-under as the next. The over-under's 11.5. I'm going the over with a bit of confidence. I am confident the D's are going over 11.5. I actually really like it. I think 12, 13 win team easily. I like it. What are you leaning with your 11.5, Das?
Yeah, I don't think they make finals, but I think they win over 11.5 games. For some reason, I thought they were going to give us 12. I like the 11. The 11 seems good. I like, obviously, their draw, the second best, depending on the going off the sides last year. Yeah, I think that they, as you said, I like how you said that like their floor probably was last season. Like they just had so much go wrong. They get they've got injections of a few really good young kids.
Yeah.
And as you said, if this is Maxie's last real good season, they're going to go all in with him. See what Petracca does. Van Ruin's another year older. Yeah, 11.5. I would be if I had 10,000, gun to your head, you got to put money on. I would lean the over definitely. So.
Sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. They've got everything there when you look at their list. It's just they're probably the biggest question mark of teams we've done. I feel like if we do the Bombers, we're we don't think they're going to be good. Or Freo, it's we think they're going to be good. Melbourne is just they've got everything. What Melbourne's going to rock up?
Yeah, I don't think you can just say Carlton and Collingwood are better than Melbourne. I don't think they're clearly they're better. I think they are in that same group as Carlton and Collingwood, and they're going to be sort of fighting for 7th, 8th, 9th with Carlton and Collingwood. It's where I see them. I don't think they're any worse than Carlton or Collingwood. So, yeah, that's sort of where I see them. So a multi-dust. We try and make a multi. We've still got to do a bit of work on this because we'll have to send some messages out with this one. But if you're having a multi, if you're a Nuffy D sport, you've listened to this pod, you're having a multi, what about we start, if you're a Nuffy D's to make the 8 at $3?
Got to start with that. You got to start with that.
And then
we have to go Max Gawn to make another All-Australian. What would be number 8?
$6. $6.
Done. Yeah, so let's do that.
18 to 1. Then I'm thinking, goals. Is it
Bailey Fritsch to kick 50?
Or is it Cozzy, Fritsch, and Van Ruin to kick 100 or something?
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
If we can get Cozzy, Fritsch, and Van Ruin to combine for 100 goals, Maxi Gawn to make All-Australian, and Melbourne to make the 8, that's a great. If you're a D supporter, I'd love a slice of that, Das.
I would put everything on it. I'd put everything. I'd mortgage a finance a new pair of RM Williams on them, Jev. That's what I would do.
Petracca's paying $275 to make All-Australian. What's Clary playing? Do these supporters think Clary's going to get back to All-Australian form, or is that guy just gone? Let me just quickly check what he's paying to make.
I'm telling you right now, if I was a Melbourne supporter, I would be putting a lot of money on Clayton Oliver to be All-Australian.
$8 he's paying to make All-Australian. $8 on PointsBet. So if you think he's going to be back, Gawn, Petracca, Oliver, all to make All-Australian pays 100 to 1.
That's a good one.
Do you think the D's are going to be as back to their best, fit? Because sometimes, as you know, playing deep into September every single year, you played the grand final 2021, prelim the next year, finals, it wears you down. They had their off year. They had their injured year last year. Are they going to bounce back for one last crack, or are they too old? Brought in these young guns. Yeah, they're going to be a super exciting team to watch this year. I can't wait to watch the D's, Das. So that is the Melbourne Demons.
That is the D's. So D's fans, let us know what you reckon. And it's going to be an interesting season watching. Good luck, and hope all the dominoes fall in your favour, because when the D's are rolling, they are good to watch. Petracca is unbelievable. Clary's one of the best. Maxi Gawn's so polarising to watch. Put him down back forward. And Cozzy Pickett, obviously, he's an A-grader when he's rolling, Jev. When he's not, he's an A-grade pain in your ass. So let's hope they can all get it together, the Demons.
Good work, Toad. Good work. Up the D's.
Let's go.
What are you prepared to lose today? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.